Radio Network, the world's conscious broadcasting network, live on iTunes and archived on iHeartRadio, the voice of consciousness. And now, join Shay Parker's Best of the Best, offering celebrity guests, lively discussions, hot topics, free psychic readings, and expert guest hosts. Simply the best in spiritual and metaphysical talk radio. Listen live on your phone or device using our universal mobile player. No app needed. Shay Parker's Best of the Best. Find out more at bestamericanpsychics.com.
This is Psychic Medium Jill M. Jackson, and I'm so excited and honored to have one of the most amazing and gifted mediums of our time with me as my guest this evening. My guest is Hans Christian King, and Hans was born in Los Angeles, California, and he actually had his first spiritual experience at the age of 3, and I will be asking him more about that this evening. He remembers having out-of-body experiences. He's felt a deep sense of responsibility since a very young age. He started using his channeling gifts in the beginning when he was a child. He knew what his Christmas gifts were before they were actually opened, and he was helping people in his neighborhood at a very young, tender age. And it wasn't until Hans was in the Navy at around 17 years old that the full effect of his gifts and his guidance began to emerge. And he is one of the most respected mediums in the world today. Hans is actually read for, I believe, over 50 to 55,000 people in readings. So that's quite a few people that he's been able to help throughout his career. So I welcome you to the show, Hans.
Thank you so much for having me on, Jill. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be back with you.
I'm glad as well. I know the first time that I had scheduled an interview with you, I lost my voice, and so Shay Parker was kind enough to go ahead and do the interview, which was an amazing interview, by the way.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to have a good show tonight, too.
Yes, we are. So I'm so happy. I am having a little bit of voice issues, but I at least haven't lost my voice this time.
Well, is that what I do to you when I come on?
Apparently,
lose your voice.
Apparently, I need to look into that, huh?
Yeah, find out what that's about.
So, Hans, is it 50,000 or 55,000?
It's actually 62,000.
Wow, that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
It's really amazing. It's been a phenomenal opportunity for me to be in service to so many, and I've learned and grown so much by the readings and working with people, and I always say it's a two-way street. They help me, I help them, and the Spirit helps us all.
That's beautiful, Hans. And one thing that I love about you is that even as gifted as you are and with as many readings as you've performed, there is absolutely no ego there. And so I wanted to ask you how, after all the years, you've kept ego out of the equation, because there are some gifted mediums out there that sometimes ego does come in from time to time.
Yeah, it does. And it's just very, very sad that happens. When I was very young, a very famous British medium by the name of Lillian was visiting in Los Angeles. And when I met her, as she was walking away, she sort of turned around and she said, "Remember one thing always, child." I said, "Yes." She said, "What the Christ said, I of myself can do nothing. You can do nothing without the gift of the Spirit." And I learned from that point on that I wasn't doing anything. I was participating in something that was being done. And so, if I was a famous painter or builder or architect, but I'm sort of a mouthpiece, like a telephone with the other side. And my job is to listen and speak. And that's what I do. But I'm not consciously bringing it up. It's being done to me for them.
Absolutely. What great advice that you received from this lady.
Really was helpful. Very, very helpful. And, I of myself can do nothing. I think it's really important that we all realize that we're in partnership with the Spirit. We're in partnership with the God force, and that's how we get through. I've gone through a couple of experiences lately in the last 2 months where the old adage of the Lord moves in mysterious ways, the wonders to behold. And it's just wonderful when you allow yourself to be moved and guided by Spirit.
Absolutely. And as you know, Hans, I studied with Alfred Ricci, who actually works with you and teaches with you. And, one of the most amazing gifts that I learned from studying with Alfred is how to trust and surrender. And that experience with training with Alfred and had really changed my mediumship. There was a turning point there, so I'm just forever grateful to both of you for that experience.
Oh, bless your heart. You know that old adage, let go and let God?
Yes.
We've heard these things, Jill, all our lives, but we don't know actually where they come from at all. But when you realize that what we're saying to people, let go and let God, is that you have help, you have support. Let go, watch and see how it affects us. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it's very powerful. And like you said, the experiences sometimes when people notice that their lives seem to be falling apart, or they seem to be having experiences that maybe they weren't expecting to come up, if they can just learn to surrender and trust.
Exactly that. But boy, does that sound easy, doesn't it?
It does. It is a lot easier.
My friend, a while back, lady I was talking to from London, and I was giving her a reading, and she said, Hans, my entire life is falling apart. I says, good, let it. And of course, that's not what she actually wanted to hear.
No.
But when the Spirit started to remind her how she said she wasn't happy anymore, she wasn't being fulfilled anymore, but yet she was trying to hang on to a life that wasn't working. One of the adages the Spirit gave me a long time ago, and I put it up on my website because I thought it was so terrific. They said most people don't live their life. They live their reaction to life.
Very true. That's profound, Hans.
We actually get involved with the drama in our life as though it's real. And it isn't.
No, it's not. That's a powerful, powerful message right there. Now, along those lines, I know that you talk a lot about setting intentions and the keys to changing our lives. So can you talk a little bit? We have about 4 minutes before we go to our first break. So can you talk a little bit about that, Hans, and maybe talk to some of our listeners who may want to do that?
When I was very, very young, my guidance said to me, I was probably 6, 7 years old, said, remember, Hans, the old Chinese proverb that says, the longest journey starts with the first step. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. If you want anything, you must first set your intention, he said. And then you must learn to hold the intention, because in the intention is the power to complete the task.
Wow, that's deep. Okay, so first set the intention, and then you have to learn to hold the intention.
I know you got to run to break, but one of the first things that happen when we set our intention is, rather than hold the intention, we allow the mind chatter to come in and unravel the intention. And since energy follows thought, when we start to unravel it, then our dream does not come true.
So once someone can learn to hold the intention, then the power thus comes from that to be able to...
Absolutely, the power. If you go and read a book by anyone you think is successful in any endeavor, somewhere in the book, and this repeats in everything I've ever read, somewhere they will say these words in one form or another. They will say, and I always knew it.
Very true. Very true.
And I always do it.
When we come back from break, I want to talk about manifestation and what your thoughts are about that. But the setting of the intention and holding the power. If anyone tonight can get anything from this interview, that is powerful, Hans, because it does start with setting the intention. And if someone feels like their life may be raveling out of control, or they feel a little bit of sense of they're not sure where to go from here, I feel like if they can just go within and kind of get quiet and, like you said, listen to spirit, but start setting intentions. And I love that. I love what you talk about with not only setting the intention, but holding the intention.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like that's where a lot of people maybe get tripped up, is they do set the intention, but they don't hold it from there.
When painting a masterpiece, the first stroke is the easiest. It's holding the intention to complete all the strokes that makes the painting.
That's beautiful, Hans. That's beautiful. I love that. Now, we were going to be taking our first break in about 1 minute. So, Hans, why don't you tell our listeners how they can find you after the show? Do you want to give out your website information?
Oh, sure. Folks, you can go to hansking.com. Very complicated. And we'll pull up our page, and you can see all the stuff that we have available, from our own radio shows on Saturday through all our different products, events that we're going to be participating in. May is a very, very busy month for us, and we'll sort of be all over everywhere. So one good thing, coming back to Asheville the 1st of May, that's really nice.
Oh, that is nice, Hans. We'll be glad to have you back here in Asheville. And yes, there is a lot going on. We'll talk about that more when we come back from the break. This is psychic medium Jill M. Jackson. You can find me at Best American Psychics or www.jillmjackson.com. And we will be right back after the break with international psychic medium Hans Christian King.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the Internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
I just wish I could say I love you one more time. I just wish I could really know if they are okay. I just wish I could let them know how much I miss them. If you have ever had any of these thoughts or others about communicating with departed loved ones, it is important for you to know that it is absolutely possible. Michelle Beltran is a globally recognized professional psychic medium who is known for giving evidential messages from beyond the event horizon. Visit michellebeltran.com for details. That's MICHELLEBELTRAN.com.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Welcome back to Best of the Best, Connect Soul to Soul. This is Psychic Medium Jill M. Jackson, and I have a very, very special guest with me this evening. I have internationally acclaimed psychic medium Hans Christian King. Welcome back to the show, Hans.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
And for those of you just joining us, Hans has actually done over 62,000 readings throughout his career. He had his first visitation from his spirit guide at the tender age of 3. And I wanted to ask you, Hans, if you would talk a little bit about that, because I find that absolutely fascinating.
Well, when I was very young, 3, 4, 5, 6, in that particular area there, I would be visited by Native American gentlemen who would take me out of body, and I would travel out into space, if you will, going to this galaxy. I know it sounds very strange, but it's in my book that's coming out shortly, and I talk about how I was shown very large books, and I was always fascinated with the fact that the pages turned. And I couldn't read. I was very badly dyslexic. But somehow the big pages turned themselves, and internally I was given the information on the page. I would know things that really I would have no way of knowing. One of the great pleasures I had early days was going to the market with my mother. And in those days, the girls and boys pushed the numbers in and pressed a button, and it calculated the groceries. And I was always right. I would say, it will be this or it will be that. And I could do that wherever we went. And so they began to realize that I was a bit strange. But you see, as I like to say, for me, it was as normal as water coming out of a tap. I did not realize that I was different. I thought somehow it must be magic or something that I was doing. I didn't realize, I thought everybody saw the spirit, and I thought everybody talked to the spirit.
Isn't that interesting, Hans? Because I had the same experience, not quite that young. I don't remember, but I remember seeing spirits when I was probably 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And, I felt the same way. I thought everybody could see. So I totally get what you're saying. And now I don't have the recollection of going out of body. I just love what you're talking about there. Do you feel like that these books, Hans, were part of the Akashic Records? Or?
Oh, I know now that they were.
Okay.
I didn't have an awareness, Jill, then.
Right.
It's what I know now. But that's what it was. And it went on for a very long time. And the first time that they lifted me up and out of the body, I actually thought at that moment I was dying, and I suddenly made it okay to die, which I thought was very strange. Wouldn't most children be terrified? But I actually wasn't, because I had this sort of warmy glow that told me I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said to the Native American man, I said, "Am I dying, sir?" He said, "Oh, no, child, you'll be fine." And the more it happened, the safer I felt. There was for me, Jill, and I'm quite certain it must have happened to you too. As a child, I felt the walls being pushed out. The rooms got very, very large. Like if I was by myself, suddenly I would become very small, and the room would get very, very large. And he told me that was normal. He says, because in the scheme of things, that's what it looks like to them.
Interesting.
We're just very tiny, and they're very large. All the spirit I have seen are over 7 feet high.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yes, I just remember sitting outside a lot because until my grandmother passed away, I was fearful of this. So what a gift that you received, being able to communicate with the spirit guide of yours that could teach you, and look at with having that experience. Hans, where you at first felt like you may be passing over. Imagine what kind of gift that was with the work that you were here to do, to be a medium and to know that there is no fear.
No, there was no fear. And I remember when I fell off the pier in Santa Monica, California, and I hit my head on a rock. And at that moment, I knew I was going to die. And I said to Spirit, am I protected? Is it okay to die now? And he says, no, son, you'll be all right. And out of nowhere, a lifeguard appeared, picked me up, took me up, got me all taken care of, and suddenly disappeared. What they later told me is there was no lifeguard on duty at that time.
Interesting.
And I never saw him again. I went back many times to go fishing. Never saw him again. But when I looked at him, I was probably 9, 10, 11, something. It reminded me of looking at an angel. Very light being, blonde hair, blue eyes, very light. And I have been so blessed. I've driven over 1.5 million miles, flown over 1,500,000 miles. Always safe, never any difficulties of any kind. I've flown in and out of Asheville International Airport nearly 500 times.
500 times? That's amazing.
In 30 years,
Wow. So you've always had the guardians with you.
I've always had them with me. And what the Spirit has said to me, so does everyone. The problem, I think, Jill, with humanity is that I think our people grow us out of who we really are. And I get in a lot of trouble for saying this. But I think parents, in wanting to protect their children, grow them out of who they actually are.
I agree.
We have an education system that says, this is what you must do, this is what you must teach. Had a friend of mine yesterday, when talking to her, and she says, Hans, I don't know what to do. I said, what? She says, my boy is flunking high school. She is smart, bright, and he is. She said, he just hates it. I said, take him out.
Exactly.
Take him out. And I said, because you're drowning him in them.
I cannot agree with you more, Hans. It's like if our children don't fit in these tiny little boxes that...
We think there's something wrong.
Right. And what I've been shown goes along with what you're saying, that there are so many gifted children that are coming in that do not learn in a traditional school. And I love that with Asheville, because there's a non-traditional school where they actually let the children learn outside in nature, and they let them really morph into who they came here to be. And I just wish more and more cities around the country would start doing the same type of education.
Well, I was really impressed with Woody Harrelson. He's had a strange career, but he took his wife and his children down to Costa Rica and had them build their own house.
Really?
And learn how to go and get bananas, and learn how to tote water, and learned how to fend and do for themselves, and how to get involved with the indigenous peoples. And greatest education he could ever give them.
Absolutely. That's fascinating. Yes, I'm passionate about people allowing their children to really learn in the best way that they can learn, because we're all different.
All of us. No two children are the same, because no two souls have the same destiny or history attached to it. We are not. We say we're all the same. We're all love. We're all examples of the living God. All of us. However, each of us has our own dharma and are working on our karma. And so each one of us is unique unto itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the things I say to parents when children are young, say, who are you? And the children will tell you. And if you say, can you draw me a picture of where you came from? They can. And do you know, Jill, the most amazing thing is 90% of the time, all the people they show when they draw them, have halos.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. I just got chills on that one, Hans. Yes, and from the mouth of babes, because if we like we've said, if we just allow our children to tell us, because many of them, especially now, I'm sure you've seen this as well with more and more gifted children coming in that have actually experienced higher dimensions, and the wisdom and the knowledge they come in with is fascinating. So if we just allow them to tell us, they will share with us where they came from. And I love that. I love that story that you just shared, Hans.
Well, thank you. And I get in trouble for this one. I don't think people should give their children iPhones before their teenage years. And the reason I say that to you, Jill, is that life is about the human imagination and the spiritual input. That's how we grow up into who we become. When you give children a substitute that looks like a game, they will go down that path. They will have no memories of childhood. That's what worries me.
Yes, that's great advice, Hans, and I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like that a lot of the changes that we see going on in our world today, some of these things need to happen to kind of get us back to the basics.
Well, I knew we were in trouble when I went to the market one day, and I handed the young lady a $20 bill to pay for an $11 order, and she couldn't make change.
That's scary. That's scary.
And the next thing I knew, the machine made the change for them. It told them how much.
Amazing. Unbelievable. We are going to take our second break of the night, Hans. Please join us after the break. I'm with international medium Hans Christian King. This is psychic medium Jill M. Jackson. Best of the best. Connect soul to soul. We will be right back.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
I just wish I could say I love you one more time. I just wish I could really know if they are okay. I just wish I could let them know how much I miss them. If you have ever had any of these thoughts or others about communicating with departed loved ones, it is important for you to know that it is absolutely possible. Michelle Beltran is a globally recognized professional psychic medium who is known for giving evidential messages from beyond the event horizon. Visit michellebeltran.com for details. That's MICHELLEBELTRAN.com.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OMTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back to Best of the Best, Connect Soul to Soul. This is psychic medium Jill M. Jackson, and I'm so excited to be interviewing internationally acclaimed psychic medium Hans Christian King. Welcome back to the show, Hans.
Thank you. I'm having a wonderful time. You're a great hostess.
Oh, thank you very much. It's easy with you, Hans. You make it very easy. I want to switch topics a little bit, and I want to ask you to talk to our listeners this evening about your view of soulmates, and because, so many of people out there are looking for a soulmate, and some people think that there's only one type of soulmate. So I wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about that, Hans.
Oh, I'm happy to. How can I put this easily? All right. There are two main groups of soulmate relationships: soulmate friends and soulmate lovers. There is a problem in that soulmate friends and soulmate lovers in the beginning tend to look and feel the same. Mm-hmm. And the reason the divorce rate in the United States right now is 50% is because of that. We are actually marrying soulmate friends. And we get it all confused with passion, and then we suffer identity crisis in the middle of all that because this isn't the person I thought they were going to be, and you've gone and had children with this person, and then you seek me out and say, what happened? And I say, you married a soulmate friend.
Interesting.
And so people say, well, how do I avoid that? Don't be in a hurry. True love is forever. True love is something that will endure beyond the passion, will always be there for you, and that proves itself with a little time. So not to put too fine a point on it, it's not a good idea to hop in bed with somebody that you just met because you have this great feeling that you know them. Well, you do. Mm-hmm. It's an old soulmate friend. And then it starts to get all cloudy and confused. Be just a little patient, please, and both will reveal themselves within 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow, that's pretty quick. So that's great advice, Hans, because you're right. If someone has traveled many lifetimes with someone, I can see how that confusion would set in when you first meet that person because you feel like you have known them, and you have.
You have, absolutely. And there's different levels of knowing them, And when I say soulmate friends, that includes animals, by the way.
I wanted to ask you about that. Will you talk a little bit about that, Hans?
Yes. We have animals that are our soulmate buddies that evolve with us. And for instance, my little dog, Bella right now, was my little dog, Kai, who was my little dog, Lulu. So it's all the same animal. It behaves the same, knows where the same toys are hidden, sleeps in the same place. Everything's the same.
I love that. I love you sharing that story. A quick story about that. I had a cat years ago named Teddy, and Teddy was with me for 12 years. He was more like a dog, and I relate easier to dogs, but I did have this cat. And I realized with my dog now, it hit me one day that it was Teddy. It was the reincarnation of my cat Teddy from years and years ago. And the interesting thing is my aunt, who she believes in what I do, but she's not really into it all the time. One day out of the blue, she said, I got this message that your dog Rascal is Teddy. And I said, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
She is right. Absolutely. Yeah. We have I live down here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and in our compound here, we have a young man, probably 40, and he walks his dog every day and his small pet pig.
Oh, I love it.
But the pig will not walk on a harness. And since we have a dog leash rule, but we have no pig rule. So the pig gets to come. Everybody loves the pig. Pig is fabulous. And you can tell when you look at the three of them, they've been together time and time again.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that story. Now, so you're part of the time there in Mexico?
Yes.
Part of the time in Asheville?
usually what we do is we come into Mexico at the end of December and go back to Asheville the 1st of May, and then we make 2 or 3 trips down for 2 weeks in between time.
And then I also see that you work in Los Angeles at some point.
Yes, I'm going to be leaving here. I'll be in Los Angeles starting the 28th of this month. I'll be presenting at Agape's Revelation Conference at the Marriott at LAX, and I've been doing it for a number of years now. One of the great things that I love to do. Anybody who it happens to be out there, come and see us. We have it's a wonderful presentation, and I just very much enjoyed. Michael Beckworth and I are very good friends, and I love working with him.
Yes, he's an amazing soul. He is an amazing soul. And what date is that, Hans, that you will be?
I'll be there, I believe, the 30th. If people go to my website, you can check on where I am. I even have a lovely picture of you there, and this meeting, and so they can see it right there, and then they can get a hold of Agape to get the tickets.
Okay, and Hans's website is www.hansking.com, and you can find the information there, and you can also find the other upcoming events that Hans will be participating in.
And then my book will come out November the 6th from Simon & Schuster, and I'm very proud of that, and I'm looking forward to coming back on your show to talk about the book.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Hans.
Thank you.
I know that this has been some time in the making, and I'm sure that you needed to just make sure that it was with the right publisher before
I did. I once said to someone, and I really wasn't being sarcastic, but I said, if Spirit wants me to write this book, they will bring the publisher to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they did.
Another synchronicity and another trust and surrender. And look.
And that's what happened. Lovely. Oh, they're the nicest people. They have been so nice to me, and helped and guided me. And my editor was provided out of nowhere for me, and so it's been a remarkable 15-month journey.
That's beautiful. I can't wait to read your book, Hans. And
Thank you.
November 6th it comes out.
November the 6th. Yeah.
Congratulations. And yes, I would love to have you back on the show to talk about your book. Are you planning on doing a book tour?
I'm planning on it. I don't know what they have in mind yet, but I will personally, I'll probably contact Malaprops and Asheville and some of the other stores and do a little lecture and signing. I love doing that type of thing. So I'm a big old ham anyway. So
yeah, yes, and I had the honor and privilege of being able to hear one of your lectures. Hans was our special guest at our last Spirit Conference with Shea Parker's Best American.
It was lovely. It was just very, very lovely. I enjoyed it. Wonderful people.
All
of you kids are great.
Thank you, Hans. Now, we have about 4 minutes before we take our last break of the evening, and I wanted to have you talk a little bit about your classes, Hans. As I mentioned earlier, I've studied with Alfred, which was life-changing. So I know that you teach psychic development, mediumship.
Yes, we do.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yes, we had a program that we teach. We'll be teaching it in Asheville this year. Later in the year, and I'll be letting you know when that is. And what we do is we help people to understand what gifts they do have. Nobody is the same. Are you clairsentient? Are you clairvoyant? Are you clairaudient? Are you all the above? Mm-hmm. Do you have healing abilities? And then we show you how you too can begin to get information from the Spirit for yourself. We don't really like to see you read for yourself, but for your family, your friends, and so many people we really need as time goes by. My generation is passing over to the other side, and as we go along, my job now is to find as many qualified people, certainly like you, who can pick up the reins and carry on and proceed, proceed on with the journey. Because remember, when I first started working, there were 6 people in the United States who were called mediums.
6?
Mediums.
Only 6?
And there were only 4 books. Only 4 books. So we've come a long way in 50 years. A long, long way in 50 years.
Thank goodness.
My work was arrestable in a large part of the United States for a very long time.
You're kidding me.
No.
I never knew that.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
It was arrestable in Las Vegas, Nevada, for instance. And I was working, it's a very quick story, I was working in Henderson. Pardon me, I was working in Las Vegas. Across the street was Henderson. And I gave this young man this reading, and he said, well, it was a wonderful reading. And he said, you obviously know what you're doing. He says, but I have to arrest you. And he didn't, by the way. He didn't.
Uh-huh.
He says, because you obviously believe what you're doing. You're not trying to scam anybody. But that was $1,500. And
oh, my goodness.
So if I'd have worked across the street at the other bookstore, it would have been fine. But I turned to the young man, and there were some of his partners, and I said, you have me confused. I said, you tell me that obviously that I believe in what I'm doing, and I work with God, and I try to help people. And he said, yes. I said, but in your yellow pages, you have 74 double-sided ads for escorts.
Mm-hmm.
I said, something's wrong, son, somewhere in all of this. Something's wrong.
Absolutely.
So he says, I take your point. Okay.
That was a good point, Hans.
I said, I take your point. So,
well, this is a perfect place to go to our last break of the evening. And please come back after the break. We have some more exciting topics to talk about with the amazing medium Hans Christian King. This is Jill M. Jackson. We'll be right back after the break.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness in action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
I just wish I could say I love you one more time. I just wish I could really know if they are okay. I just wish I could let them know how much I miss them. If you have ever had any of these thoughts or others about communicating with departed loved ones, it is important for you to know that it is absolutely possible. Michelle Beltran is a globally recognized professional psychic medium who is known for giving evidential messages from beyond the event horizon. Visit michellebeltran.com for details. That's MICHELLEBELTRAN.com.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Healing Light, on OMTimes Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Healing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
I am interviewing internationally acclaimed medium Hans Christian King this evening. Welcome back to the show, Hans.
Thank you for having me back.
And I have just really enjoyed our conversation tonight. I want to talk the last segment of the show. I want to talk about manifestation and talking to our angels and our guides and what your views are regarding manifestation and how we can manifest things. Can you talk about this a little bit?
I'd be happy to. One of the things that most people don't understand is that when they're trying to manifest something, they first must manifest the belief that it's true.
Very true.
So, on that stands, that's the foundation. On that stands the possibilities. If you don't set the foundation of belief underneath your manifestation, you won't get it. Because you'll keep dropping through and dropping back into doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So the hardest thing in manifesting is to believe it's true. But one thing that manifesting does, it calls up our little hidden inner child fear we may not be good enough. Maybe we were bad in another lifetime. Maybe God doesn't love us as much as we had hoped that God would love us. Maybe we're just wishing on a dream that can't come true. So our mind has a tendency to sabotage the outcome of manifestation if you're not careful.
Very, very true, Hans. I wanted to ask you if you feel like that our spirit guides can actually help us manifest things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're saying to us, but believe, child. One of the things that Dr. James Allen's little book, As a Man Thinketh, I'm known for quoting that poor boy. He says, it's important to remember that they themselves are makers of themselves. It is in my 63 years of service the single hardest thing I have ever tried to teach anyone. Remember what we said earlier in the show, energy follows thought.
Mm-hmm.
And when you change your thinking, when you change your perception, then the energy builds around you for your goal. But if, you ever talk to anyone who was really good at what they do and ever hear them say and they knew they wouldn't make it?
No.
Exactly.
Never.
They always knew they would make it. They weren't certain how, but they believed in the principle of trust, faith. They believed in that, and that's where we got the book, The Secret.
Mm-hmm.
That when you know, the energy follows that thought.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to me, Hans, that you would think that as the veils are thinning and we are ascending and becoming more aware, you would think that people would find it easier to manifest. But what I have found is a lot of people aren't able, though they feel like they're not able to manifest, but this is the key right here, what you just said, having the foundation and the belief first.
Yes. You have to have the belief. And you can't spend endless hours every day in front of a screen.
Right.
You're diffusing your own energy. And spirit cannot get through the energy of a computer screen, an iPod, the television set. They don't even try anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They say, when they're ready, we will be here.
Yes, and it's all about that connection, about having the quiet time to be able to listen. Yes. Because a lot of people, you're so right that they're so involved in all of the electronics and the television and the computer. A lot of people don't even know how to react or behave.
They don't know how to behave. You put it quite well. They don't know how to behave. And I don't mean the standard way of behaving. I mean they don't know how to respond to beauty anymore.
Right.
They don't sit down and look at a flower. They don't hold their little dog or their little cat and make that enough for that hour. They're too busy worried about what's on the little machine. I have to tell people on my staff, please put that device down. Oh my goodness, it makes me crazy, girl.
That's one positive about living in Asheville, Hans, is that you can't live here and not stop to appreciate the beauty.
No, it's impossible. It's one of the, that's what I said when I first moved there all those years ago, back in 1988. People said to me, "You've lost your mind," and it was without fail the finest move I ever made.
Isn't it very healing here that the mountains, they hold a beautiful kind of energy?
And they have their own speak. The birds have a speak. The trees, the wind, and the waterfalls, and it has a beautiful speak of spirit.
Absolutely.
And if you're quiet, you can hear it. I actually saw a man the last time I was in Asheville, and I was over by Beaver Dam Lake, and I was parked, and the waterfall, the little waterfall over there on the right-hand side, water was coming down, and other people were sitting there being very quiet. This man was very busy with his iPhone, just texting, and I thought, sir, why are you here?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why are you here? You can't hear the heartbeat.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Hans. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, is the energy in Mexico quite different than Asheville?
Well, the people here are much different, of course, because the people here have a saying, which I dearly love. I was taking a taxi to the airport one day, and I know this man, and his name is Juan, and he said to me, he said, Senor King, he says, why are the Americans so afraid of everything? I said, what do you mean? He said, oh my goodness, I was in your country, he said, about a month ago to see my son, and he said, your television is full of fear. Someone's coming to get you. People chasing cars. Oh, he said, it's horrible. I said, how do you react? He said, well, we have an old Indian saying here. He says, the God that took care of yesterday is currently taking care of today and will take care of tomorrow. Don't worry. Everything's fine.
That's beautiful.
But it is, exactly.
And he's absolutely right. And unfortunately, that our country, it's almost an addiction to fear, Hans. It's almost.
Well, I've been saying it for 20 years. We have an addiction to fear. We have the most violent television in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have the highest murder rate of any industrialized nation in the world. Our healthcare has fallen to number 17th in the world.
Yes.
A little bottle of Lantus that I take for long-term insulin in the United States is $197 a bottle. Here, it's $58. The exact same medicine at Costco.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's outrageous. That's absolutely.
If you want to know if there's something the matter with what's going on in the country, just listen to the side effects of the medicines they're selling on television.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The other day I saw an asthma drug that says first side effect, sudden death from asthma.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It's shocking.
We could have an entire show on this, Hans. This is one of my soapbox.
Good girl. You
stands.
Keep standing on that soapbox for me.
So we only have a few minutes left, Hans. Unfortunately, I've just so enjoyed talking to you tonight. You have so much wisdom to share, and I'm so happy that you're still doing your work, Hans, and sharing your wisdom and your gift with everyone out there.
And we'll be having classes in Asheville this summer. It'll be up on our webpage. Okay.
Beautiful. And so for those of you out there listening, be sure to go to Hans's website. It's www.hansking.com, and you can find out about Hans's events, his classes, and where he's going to be next. And Hans, you're also still doing private readings as well.
Yes, I'm still doing. Believe it or not, I still am.
Good for you. Good for you. That's definitely needed. And I'm so excited, too, about your book.
Thank you.
Hans has a book coming out November 6th with Simon & Schuster, and so I cannot wait to read that. And we will definitely have you back on the show, Hans, to talk about your book once it comes out.
Thank you. And remember, young lady, that God doesn't love anyone more in this world than you.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful,
Okay.
Hans. Thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you shared with us tonight. It's been really interesting stories, and there's been a lot of great wisdom that you've given us a lot to think about. And some of the things that you say, Hans, it seems so simple when you say it, but it's so deep, and that's what I love about it. Because when you can really sit back and reflect on your words, and there's a lot there.
Jill, Spirit told me when I was very young to always remember that truth is simplicity itself.
Another beautiful wisdom from Hans Christian King. And so thank you again, Hans. It's been my honor to talk to you this evening. And be sure to tune in next month. Best of the Best Connect Soul to Soul is the third Tuesday of each month. And my other colleagues with Best of the Best are the first, second, and fourth Tuesdays of the month. And we will have really interesting and exciting guests. So be sure to join us. And you can find me at bestamericanpsychics.com or www.jillmjackson.com. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and have a beautiful evening. Namaste.
Thank you for joining us for Shay Parker's Best of the Best. Be sure to tune in next week for more lively discussion topics. Have a great week, and don't forget to check out bestamericanpsychics.com in case you need some professional, ethical, and accurate psychic advice from the nation's best psychics. Until next week, take care of yourselves and one another.